Governor Hochul is making an announcement about the Long Island Railroad at Penn Station. Let's listen in.
To those of you who never believed this day was come, the train is finally rolling down the tracks. And we are so excited about the news we have today that we're on a one-way journey to a brand new, fully renovated station and beautiful surrounds that this community has waited for and has deserved for a very long time. And this is happening today as we launch the kickoff to the design process, literally today. But it is happening because of the great partnership of the individuals with me here today. This has been a long talked about, sometimes controversial initiative. But standing united here today sends a message that we will get the job done. So I want to thank Jana Lieber, who will be speaking shortly, for continuing to guide this process forward despite all the questions, all the concerns, continue to meet with people, answer them, and make sure they understand what we're going to do is something that we're going to be talked about for generations. Jana Lieber, thank you very much for all the support of this project. Amtrak Board Chair Tony Kosha, thank you, Amtrak. This does not happen without your full-bodied support for what we're doing here today. We're going to continue to draw upon you as an ally in Washington to make sure that we get this finished as well. Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine, I thank him for his leadership here today, helping us pull the community together. Senator Brad Hoylman-Siegel for his representation of the various interests, but making sure that we come together with one unified voice. Assemblymember Tony Simone, the same. We have had many, many meetings, and we're going to be talking about how we're going to get through this together as one. I know our Councilmember Eric Botch will be joining us. I also want to give a special shout out to Jerry Nadler. Jerry was the chair of the Assembly Transportation Committee a long time ago, and we talked about what New Yorkers deserve and have him in his position in Washington, D.C. right now as someone who's going to fight for the resources we need to finish this project. I want to give a special shout out to my former colleague in Congress, our great Congressman Jerry Nadler. So, this has been a project that has had a few setbacks. And I was only on the job a couple of months when I said, why are we still waiting? Why hasn't this moved forward? What excuses can be so great that we deny thousands of New Yorkers the experience that they deserve? So we're going to be talking about the first 3 months on the job. I unveiled our Commuter First initiative. This is not about the rest of the world right now. This is about New Yorkers and their own personal experience as we encourage them to come back on our subways, keeping them safe, keeping them clean, keeping them on time. So that was our first commitment. And then we showed the plans for the LIRR concourse. They were completed in the spring of New York, the spring of this year. We've been steadily moving forward since the beginning. Proud to have the support of our friends behind us as well. So I think as soon as they see this project, they'll understand that this is something they're going to be very excited about. So today we're officially announcing the design process for the new station has officially begun. And we're happy to show some of the designs right now. These are just concepts, but to know that we're going to be open now to any architect, any design firm, any engineer, to allow them the opportunity to compete for a position to perhaps be creating this world-class masterpiece. So we're no longer tolerating delays. New Yorkers know my feelings. I've not been shy talking about how this is inferior. It's crowded, it's congested, it's unpleasant. And New Yorkers deserve to have the bright light coming in and shining upon them. So we're excited about this, and we're tired of seeing the underground corridors. They're too narrow, and we're going to improve that as well. So I know we can do better, but there's two realities that we're talking about right now. Number one, we are decoupling this from the prior plan, the GPP. That does not mean that we're not going to be building office space here at some point. It makes sense. We have 600,000 people come through here. It makes sense for them to be able to work in the same place where they commute to. So we'll get that done over time. But I no longer want that to be a delay a delay to this process, which is moving forward today. So ridership is number one. And while the demand for office space is down right now, we believe that this will be temporary. But you know my commitment to building housing. I want to see more housing built, even in this place. It makes sense. So it's a chance for us to rethink the longer-term Phase 2 strategy. But Phase 1, to me, begins here today with the beginning of the design process, because we are going to be opening up the opportunity to really just focus on this building and the immediate surrounds to create a beautiful space that the neighbors have been waiting for. So we'll focus on all these initiatives, and we only need to see proof of the LIRR concourse of what is within our realm of possibility if we continue working together. And we're going to continue addressing the concerns and complaints of all. That's what we're doing. That's why we're having so much community outreach. We will take their advice and their input because this is their neighborhood as well, and we respect that. But it's all about making this an extraordinary city. I can't wait to build it with our friends, men and women of labor as well. Gary LaBarber, I want to thank you for representing labor, because labor gets it done. So this is a great day for New York. Look forward to showcasing and showing everybody the great possibility that is unfolding before our very eyes. We'll look back at this day sometime in the future and say, this is the day that the future started coming down the tracks right here at Penn Station in New York State. So thank you, everybody. And with that, let me welcome MTA Chair Jano Lieber.
Welcome to New York, where everybody doesn't agree all at the same time. I just want to echo what the governor said about Dick Ravitch. This is in some ways, he is the father of the modern MTA. When I was a kid and the subway system was as bad as it's ever been, Ravitch stepped up with the leadership of some other great New Yorkers and convinced us that it was possible to bring New York's most iconic public facility back to life and make it great. And it was accomplished, not all in Dick Ravitch's tenure as chair, but it was accomplished. He helped set it in motion, and we are enjoying the benefits today with incredible on-time performance, incredible service to New Yorkers, and the energy that the governor has talked about bringing back to New York is evident in our mass transit system. Governor, I got to thank you. Obviously, as we're experiencing at this very moment, Penn Station is controversial. It has been for some time. People have been talking about it for some time. But you have brought energy to the effort to turn Penn Station around from being something that is an eyesore that New Yorkers are ashamed of and are scared about to something very different. And this is a forward-looking event, but I gotta say, look around at what's already been accomplished. During COVID, while so many people were not able to do their normal business, we took advantage, we at the MTA took advantage of that window of opportunity and totally transformed this section of Penn Station. People are coming out of, coming back to work, coming back to shopping, coming back to theater for the first time, and they're coming out of off the platforms and they're saying, this is amazing, where am I? They look around because of what we were able to accomplish. It's completely different, and it is, just a couple of key facts. All of those incredible structural impediments to people moving around have been changed. The ceilings were raised. The main spine of all Penn Station has been widened so people can move around. And this is a total transformation of the subways and of the LIRR, but it's also a proof of concept of what we can do and will do in the next phase. I want to just highlight a couple of the images. What you see on the screen is the perspective from where we are standing of what is going to be the new train hall with light and air penetrating from above. You see that escalator bank that we created which gives access and brings light in for the first time since Penn Station, the original Penn Station, was destroyed. But this area is great, but we'd like to turn it into an area under the governor's leadership that is the size of Moynihan Train Hall plus Grand Central Station combined. That's an amazing transformation, and you see it, how it could look. A huge train hall is possible because what we're standing in is the area between the office building, 2 Penn, on 7th Avenue, and Madison Square Garden. This is the area that you can, by removing some of the upper level, to bring light and down into the station. Here's another angle. From higher up, this is what you will see as you enter from 33rd Street. Again, this is possible because the area between Madison Square Garden and 2nd Avenue and 2 Penn is open and available. What is above this that we would take out? Folks don't understand this. What's above is the taxiway. It's an area that hasn't been used since 9/11. It's an area that was originally used for cars to pull up into Penn Station or to go to Madison Square Garden, but it's been closed. That gives us an opportunity to take what used to be a public space and turn it again into something that is the public benefit. And what we're not forgetting about is how the streetscape can be made much more dynamic and much better for the community. Right now, 33rd Street, which you're looking east on from this is the corner of 8th Avenue, you're looking east on 33rd Street, is for day after day, it's taken up by trucks. The Madison Square Garden sticks there because they can't get into their own loading dock. What we're proposing to do is to make it possible for Madison Square Garden to use their own loading dock without parking trucks on 33rd Street, and to turn 33rd Street into the kind of dynamic public space that New Yorkers and the folks in this neighborhood are demanding and looking for. It's always meant to be a very much different public space. And there's also a lot of talk about what to do about 8th Avenue. There are different ideas, and we're going to look at all of them. But whatever happens, the 8th Avenue experience on Penn can and will be changed. We think there's opportunity to do that by expanding what's going on at the corners where people naturally enter into transportation facilities. But as you see, there are other ideas as well, and we're going to be looking at all of them. But as you can see in any version of this, there is a dramatically different, more active Penn. And here's an entrance from 8th Avenue. Even if you don't take out the Hochul Theater, we think there are ways to dramatically improve the 8th Avenue experience. 8th Avenue, a huge train hall on 7th Avenue, more access, more safety, more access to the platforms. One of the reasons the Penn doesn't function well is we don't have enough stairs and escalators down to the platform. All of those things in tandem with the kind of openness that you're seeing here are what is going to transform Penn. The governor has said it again and again. Penn ought to be one of the crown jewels of our $1 trillion MTA asset. Yes, $1 trillion. That's what the MTA system is worth. We have to keep investing in it, and we have to keep the system in a state of good repair. I want to say that, notwithstanding some of the noise, to have this coalition of elected officials who represent the community and, together with Amtrak, my old friend Tony Kosha here, does represent a watershed. We have come together under Governor Hochul's leadership to make sure that we are changing Penn. And I want to thank Tony Kosha and ask him to step up to the podium to share. Thank you, Governor Hochul, for bringing us together.
I will try to speak in a way that everyone can hear me as best I can. It's great to be here with everyone today. And as the governor and Jano mentioned, this is a very special day for a lot of reasons. To those of you who I don't know, I've been at Amtrak and on their board for 10 years. And prior to that, I was the chairman of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and I'm a lifelong resident of New Jersey And for over 30 years, I've been traveling in and out of New York City for both business and personal reasons, and I've used every form of transportation in order to do that. So I believe very much and understand very much what people go through for the basic needs of mobility around this region, and that's what today is about. Because this problem didn't start yesterday, it didn't start a week ago, it didn't start a year ago, it started many, many years ago. And for 30 to 40 years, people have essentially ignored the problem. They've kicked the can down the road. So what makes today so very, very special is that we are blessed to have leadership that is not kicking the can down the road any longer, that's picking it up and doing something about it. Governor Hochul is clearly that kind of a leader, and that's the example that we have here today. And we are honored at Amtrak to work with her, the MTA, and their leadership on being able to do this. We've been blessed with leadership in New Jersey with Governor Murphy, who's also been a partner in trying to do something to make these commutes better, to make it work for people on a broader level. And I have to admit, as someone who spends so much time in Washington dealing with what's involved in getting the kind of support we need for these initiatives, New York is represented by Chuck Schumer, and there is no more loud, forceful advocate in a very intelligent, meaningful way to make these things happen. Senator Schumer has been there at the very beginning, he will be there at the end, and he's made many things possible we've never envisioned. And I also have to thank the President, because if there is anyone in this country in the issue of infrastructure who's decided not to kick the can down the road, not to only start projects that fit within an election cycle, not to only do the easy things, it's Joe Biden. He has put more into making our lives better by understanding the value of infrastructure than any president in modern history. And for that, we are certainly grateful, and I think we all should be grateful to him. Now, we're here talking about Penn Station, and it's not just an ordinary building. Amtrak has owned it since it inherited it from the Pennsylvania Railroad in the early 1970s. And we've heard so much about what it does. And it's not just a home to Amtrak and the Long Island Railroad and New Jersey Transit and other railroads that have occasionally used it. It is something that represents a pivotal part of everyone's transportation needs. As we've pointed out, it's the busiest transit hub in North America. 1/3 of every Amtrak passenger either starts or ends here in New York City through this station. It is absolutely critical, not just to us and not just to the New York, New Jersey region and to the East Coast of the United States,